What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran and I help people using a spiritual perspective, which is actually what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, is basically why I even bother saying that. Why do I go through the sort of rigmarole of saying, hi, my name is Kieran, spiritual perspective, I want to help people with this. Why do I say that? Why do I use those specific words? I really don't even have to introduce myself. I could just start talking and nobody would care. But there is a specific reason why I say that. Is it because it's the only perspective spiritually, right? Is spiritual perspective the only perspective you can have? No, that's not true. Is it the most beneficial? Sometimes no. Sometimes you need to look at things practically instead of spiritually. Is it the one that provides the most answers? Yes, it is. That is sort of the key to the spiritual perspective, is that it provides answers. Maybe not the answers you'd like, but it always offers a solution of a spiritual nature. So it's a perspective among many perspectives. So it's one that we can use to look at things in a deeper, more meaningful way, as if we ourselves had put the obstacle or the challenge or the whatever we're facing in front of us, as if we were responsible for it. Okay, it's sort of an ultimate ultimate clue as to our own existence, right? So the idea here is that spirituality is a perspective. It's something that can be offered to make sense of different situations, different dilemmas, different ideas and philosophies that exist within the world, right? What it isn't is an external based religion. And it's unfortunate that I see this so much. And I do a lot. It's really prevalent on Instagram. I don't know what it's like on YouTube or Twitter. God forbid I ever go on Twitter. But I have an Instagram for my music, and I don't use it very much because I don't care. I hate social media. But what I do notice on Instagram is, because I follow some spiritual people there, Jeff Foster, things like that, I'll get a lot of recommended crap. And it's just crap. It's honestly just crap. And you start to pay attention to it a little bit because it annoys you. And I notice so much of what people think spirituality is, and why so many people are turned off from it. And it's because primarily of this whole New Age way of thinking. It's made things very dangerous and almost overloaded with information that isn't relevant, right? Because somehow spirituality got twisted. Now, for me, spirituality has always been about a connection to yourself, the deepest connection you can form to yourself. It was never about how positive you're supposed to be. It's not supposed to be about labels, not supposed to be about twin flames or soulmates. It's not supposed to be about being a starseed or a light worker. Okay, these are all things that provide a little bit of insights, okay, a little bit of different breadcrumbs to the few who resonate with it, but it's not the process. It's not the process of deeply understanding yourself, right? So I like to think about it like spirituality can be just another distraction, right? So you have the path to enlightenment, the so-called awakened being, the spiritual awakening process. It becomes another thing in which your ego can kind of get wrapped up in. So you have to kind of awaken from being awakened, right? You're put on this path, and suddenly spirituality seems like this whole other world that you're now a part of. But what happens is so many people go into that world not realizing that it's actually just another external thing. It's just another external quasi-religion, right? And often people aren't really talking about spirituality in its essence. They're more concerned with having you pay X amount of money to essentially to have something really ridiculously sounding happen to you with no qualifications or proof that it's supposed to happen. For instance, I saw something the other day that was someone on Instagram was charging $88, $88 for an energy clearing of your room or something. So they could do that from miles and miles and miles away, and for basically $90, you can have that done. Right? And I thought to myself, what a waste of money. What a waste of time and energy and money. And it's not even that I don't believe necessarily that any of that could happen or be real. It's that it's all being taught. It's all being preached from this quasi-external religious perspective, right? It's about, hey, let me clear your energy for you. And hey, $90, that'll do the job. It's not about, apparently, it's not about, hey, this is how you are able to have more energy for yourself. This is how you're able to better understand yourself. This is how you can maybe clear your own energy if you're going to go with that analogy, right? It's always about what someone else can do for you and pay an exorbitant fee for that to happen. But true spirituality has never been about that, okay? It's been about giving information and freely. This is what this is. Other than offering coaching services, I don't have any products that I'm looking to get money from, okay? It used to be tarot, but tarot was just another thing. It was just another distraction, right? But spirituality has always been about a connection to the inner self, to the deepest self. And that's why so many times external things no longer validate our belief system, right? So many times people on the spiritual process, they lose faith in it because they are being bombarded by just more external surfaces. So it doesn't matter if you believe in something at one time on your spiritual process. It could be that a couple years later it's completely irrelevant to you, because all that you have left is your emotions. So I like to think of it like this. There's a wall. There's a wall in front of us, in front of each and every one of us. On the other side is, let's say, your soul, the rest of you, okay, just you, the other versions of you. And this side, it's you facing it in the front. And you can't see how expansive the rest of your soul is, right? You can't. It would be like if I, held this up. There's just something so expansive on the other side, but all you see is right in front of you. So you're not really aware of how much energy and potential and power exists within you. You only have a general sense of it, because the wall doesn't go on forever. It's just right in front of you. But the expanse goes millions and millions of miles, if you could imagine something like that. And yet this wall that we've built and others have built for us is sort of in the way, right? And true spirituality has always been about facing that wall, has always been about getting to the point where all the distractions that you could sort of turn away from the wall, spirituality just being another one of them, it gets to a point where none of that works anymore, right? And that's why external belief systems fail so many times, and internal belief systems have to be, well, they have to be looked upon, they have to be acknowledged. Otherwise you won't be able to face that wall, because you're looking for your own truth on the other side of this wall. You're looking for your peace, you're looking for your sense of fulfillment, you're looking for something. Usually it's a form of contentment, which I guess you could argue would be a form of peace, right? You're looking for something, and on the other side is often wisdom, truth, new perspectives, a feeling of love, maybe, new ideas, okay, new belief systems, but something to believe in, right? But the wall is in the way, and spirituality just adds to that wall. So many things that we feel we have to do. We have to go on a healing journey. We have to go on a sound bath. We have to pay somebody to do some ceremony, right? We have to take ayahuasca or kambo. We have to go do these varying different things, all in the nature of spirituality, right? Going through this process, which is religious in nature. What's the difference between having to travel to Mecca and having to go on some retreat to Costa Rica to do a bunch of fancy spiritual medicine that the local natives have been doing for thousands of years? Is there anything inherently wrong with either of those things? No, of course not. But is it necessary to fulfill that burden just because it exists? No, absolutely not. But when you believe in something, or when you want to believe in a system like spirituality, like so many of us do, like so many of the people watching this video do, what happens is you go along with everything else because you're just accepting it blindly. And I don't think that's an insult. I think I did that a lot myself. And we forget that it's really just about the process from ourselves and within us to get to that wall, to get to that point where no other external thing could possibly fulfill us in the way that the thing on the other side of the wall could. And that's why all spirituality, all external belief systems fail eventually. And they will always fail. They will always crumble, because all that will ever be left is you and your own wall, you and your own emotions that you have to face, right? You stare at the wall, it makes you very uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. I think it makes most people uncomfortable. There's a lot of stuff going on there, right? We've built this wall unconsciously, brick by brick. and there's a lot of energy has gone into it, and even more energy keeping it up, right? But on the other side of it, again, this expansive energy. And so we can get into that. We can hear that in a sense. We can feel it, certainly, through tons of different methods. Sometimes it happens randomly. You're not even trying. Sometimes you do try through meditation or mindfulness. Sometimes you just breathe deeply and you can feel something. Sometimes you're just alone with your thoughts. You're just laying down, listening to music. You're free, right? You feel the sense of freedom, and you might feel that in tons of different circumstances, right? Maybe you love to dance and you don't often do it, but then the times that you do, it's like you're taken over by an energy force that's almost foreign to you. And it's that joy, it's a sense of peace and relief, not having a chatter, not having sort of this outside voice talking to you and judging you as you're going through something, right? That comes from this wall. But the more you face your wall, the more you face this stuff, the more spiritual you're really being, right? Because it all starts within us, right? So everything else isn't really necessary. I mean, you can go on Instagram and you can find about 1 million different pick-a-card readings. You can find about 100,000s of people telling you how you should manifest, and just pay them $100 and they'll be the ones to get you to manifest, telling you all sorts of crap, and it's all just reworded, rehashed nonsense that is no different than any other philosophy that's ever existed throughout history. It's just slap a spiritual label on it and suddenly you've changed the perspective. But no, that's not what spirituality is about, right? Taking an example, visualization. Visualization has become this sort of this idea, this new age idea, this spiritual idea that you can get what you want by visualizing it happening, or maybe it's already happened. Trying to visualize the feeling of what it would be. But that's daydreaming. That's fantasizing. That's literally what those things are, and they always have been. It's always been daydreaming and fantasizing, and these are things you can verify for yourself by simply fantasizing and daydreaming about something, and you realize it's the same exact thing as visualization, right? No difference. So how come daydreaming and fantasizing has just been reworked into this new label under the spiritual sort of umbrella, right? And it's just to make money. It's just for new crap to exist, okay? But ultimately, it's very redundant. It's redundant to your internal process. Is some of it helpful? Sure. Is some of it going to resonate with you at a certain time? Yeah, absolutely. It did for me as well. But ultimately, it's not going to help you tear down that wall, to go on the other side of the wall, to realize the wall is crap, non-existent, that it's just in your mind, that basically the prison that we're in is we've locked the door, the keys are in the door, but we've shut and we're staying inside, right? There's tons of metaphors we can use here, but essentially there is something of our making in the way. We can just think of it as ourselves, right? You ever heard people say, get out of your own way, right? That's kind of what this process is. But spirituality, a lot of it, the way it's presented, isn't teaching us how to get out of our own way. It's just teaching us how to add more shit onto what we're already going through. So you feel like an asshole if you can't manifest your dream job, when in reality it has nothing to do with getting a dream job. It has to do with like existing, feeling all right to exist, feeling okay that you weren't put here to just do, that you weren't put here for everybody else's reasons, that maybe possibly there is an energy or a power or a solution or a wisdom or a truth inside of you that can be verified first through here, okay? Maybe you can feel it sort of here too, your intuition, your heart, you're feeling something from within first before everything else, right? Are you just going to get a job just to make money, or are you going to try and find something that you can exist for, right? That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with money, right? It's not about, being famous or doing this and this and this. It's about maybe getting expression out of you, right? Like for me, it's not about being a famous writer or a famous musician or any of the stuff that I do. It's about taking what's on in here and putting it out here. Okay, that's really all I want to do in my life. So what that looks like is different to me than it would be for you. But it's a very open-ended sort of idea, but it's also vague enough that I can sort of, move around as I see fit. But it's also specific in a sense because I know what it's about, right? So that's something that I couldn't have got unless I faced the wall. Now, does that mean that it's completely gone? No, of course not. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I've faced my wall with complete sincerity. No, of course not. I do it in little bits because there's just a lot of shit that goes on in my head, in my life, that I feel I can't do it all at once. And that's just me. Some people go all in, right? And there are times when you do. Sometimes you do go all in. Sometimes I've gone all in with certain things. So, but the point is that spirituality follows a path of an internal journey. It's not an external thing. It can be helpful to look at things because you get little pieces, right? But again, it's not going to do the work of getting that wall out of the way. A lot of spirituality is designed so that other people, you can pay other people to do something for you, to teach you something that you already intrinsically know how to do. So it's a dangerous thing that's been set within this spirituality. I think a lot of it has to do with New Age spirituality. I think a lot of it has to do with toxic positivity. And I think a lot of it has to do with misinformation and over-information because there's so much of it, right? You can scroll on any social media form and find about 10,000 things all contradicting each other from people like myself, really, who have no credentials, no, credentials in an educated setting, right? Now, I think I can help people. That's why I'm here. But I'm not going to presume to understand the totality of the mind. How can I, right? But we have these people who are willing to stake their entire reputation and charge a lot of money when they don't actually have qualifications, right? When there's no real, why should you trust somebody that that doesn't actually understand how the human mind works? They didn't go to school. They didn't take 5 or 6 years for a master's or doctorates in psychology, right? So you're going to trust somebody with your mind, right? It's dangerous. Doesn't mean it can't work. It's just dangerous. There's tons of things that we have to consider. And so all I ask, the point of this video, or as a reminder to myself, of course, is that your wall is the only thing you're responsible for. Everything else you can sort of take a little bit grains of salt, okay? So I got some people coming up. I think they're about to mow the grass and stuff, so I'm going to cut this video short. But essentially, that's the point, guys. I hope it helps. I hope it makes sense. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.